Alright, so I never thought I'd be that guy writing one of these posts, but here I am. This whole thing happened last weekend, and I still can't wrap my head around it. My girlfriend, Emily, 24F, and I, 26M, have been together for 2 years, and I thought we had a solid relationship. Sure, we had our little fights, who doesn't, but nothing major. Until now. We had planned this nice date night at a fancy new restaurant in town. I had just landed a big project at work, and Emily had been talking about wanting to spice things up in our relationship. So, perfect excuse, right? Dress up nice, good food, a little wine, just a chill night. I should have known something was off from the moment we got there. Emily was weirdly glued to her phone, giggling at texts while I was trying to make conversation. Then she started being all secretive about it, angling her phone away when I glanced over. Red flag number 1. But I brushed it off. Maybe it was her best friend talking nonsense in their group chat. I didn't want to be that insecure boyfriend. Big mistake. So, I try to shake off the weird feeling and focus on the date. The restaurant was one of those trendy spots with dim lighting, overpriced cocktails, and a menu where you don't recognize half the ingredients. Emily looked amazing, by the way. She wore this red dress that always turned heads, and for a second, I reminded myself how lucky I was. But she was still glued to her phone. Every couple of minutes, she'd check it, type something, then laugh quietly. I was getting frustrated. Everything okay? I asked, trying to keep my voice light. She barely looked up. Yeah, just talking to, never mind. Never mind? At this point, I started paying more attention. Whenever her phone lit up, she'd glance at it quickly, then flip it face down. It wasn't her usual behavior. Normally, she'd show me funny memes or rant about some drama in her friend group. This felt different. I took a sip of my drink, debating whether to say something. I didn't want to ruin the night over a gut feeling, but I had no idea just how bad things were about to get. I decided to let it go, at least for the moment. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe it really was just her friend being annoying. But then, something happened that I couldn't ignore. About 20 minutes into our meal, I noticed a guy at a nearby table staring at us. At first, I thought he was just zoning out, but no, his eyes were locked onto Emily. And not in a casual, oh, she's pretty way. It was like he was studying her. I glanced at Emily to see if she noticed, but she was still focused on her phone. The guy, though, he smirked. Like he knew something I didn't. That's when Emily's phone buzzed again. She checked it, then suddenly looked up, straight at the guy. Her whole face changed. It was that guilty kind of surprise, like when you run into your boss at a party after calling in sick. My stomach dropped. Who's that? I asked, keeping my voice steady. Emily blinked, then forced a laugh. What? Who? I nodded toward the guy, who was still watching us with way too much interest. Him. He keeps looking over here. Emily hesitated, just for a split second. Then she shrugged. I dunno. Weird. But she wasn't looking at me when she said it. Something was definitely going on. I just didn't know how bad it was about to get. At this point, my gut was screaming at me that something was wrong. Emily was acting weird, the guy at the other table was way too interested in us, and I was feeling like the only clueless one in the room. Then her phone buzzed again. This time, I saw it. She had turned it slightly, and for a split second, a message popped up before she tapped the screen to hide it. But I caught just enough. I see you. You look amazing. Can't wait for later, winky face. My whole body went cold. I didn't recognize the number, but I sure as hell recognized what that text meant. Emily noticed my face change. What? She said, faking innocence. I took a deep breath, trying not to lose it right there in the middle of the restaurant. Who just texted you? She forced a laugh. Oh my God, are you serious? I just stared at her. I wasn't playing games. She rolled her eyes. It's just a friend messing around. I turned and looked straight at the guy. He was smirking again. Then, just to make things even worse, he raised his glass in a little toast. Like he was cheersing me. I saw red. Something was going on between them, and I was done pretending otherwise. I put my fork down and looked Emily dead in the eye. Tell me the truth. Right now. She bit her lip. Didn't say anything. That silence was all I needed to hear. But I had no idea just how much worse it was about to get. The silence between us felt heavier than anything I'd ever experienced. My heart was pounding so hard I could barely hear the soft music playing in the background. Emily finally sighed and put her phone down. Babe, you're overreacting. I almost laughed. Overreacting? I gestured toward the guy. Then who the hell is he? And why is he texting you like that? Her eyes darted toward him for just a second. A second too long. I pushed my chair back slightly. I wasn't trying to cause a scene, but my hands were shaking under the table. The guy must have realized things were escalating because he actually had the audacity to get up from his table and start walking toward us. I clenched my jaw. Don't. Emily's eyes went wide, like she suddenly realized just how bad this was about to get. She reached for my hand, but I pulled away. It's not what you think, she said quickly. I shook my head. Then explain. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like you're on a date with me while texting him. She opened her mouth, closed it, then tried again. He's just a friend. That made me snap. Oh yeah? I said, pushing my chair back completely. Then why is he acting like your boyfriend? The guy finally spoke. Hey man, let's not make a big deal out of this. I turned to him so fast he actually took a step back. I don't even know who the F***K you are. Emily stood up. Can we please talk outside? I was 2 seconds away from losing it. But something in her voice, maybe the panic, told me I needed to hear what she had to say. So I grabbed my jacket, threw some cash on the table, and walked out. I didn't know it yet, but I was about to hear something that would change everything. We stepped outside, and the cold air hit me like a slap to the face. My mind was racing, my stomach twisting into knots. I turned to Emily, crossing my arms. Talk, I said. Now. She looked around nervously, as if making sure no one was listening. The guy hadn't followed us out, thank God, but I could still feel his presence like a ghost haunting the back of my mind. Emily bit her lip, hesitating. Then she sighed. Okay, but promise you won't freak out. I laughed bitterly. Emily, you've been sneaking around, texting some random guy during our date, and now you want me to stay calm? She flinched but nodded. He's my ex. Boom. Just like that, the ground beneath me disappeared. I took a slow breath, trying to keep myself together. Your ex? She nodded. But it's not what you think, she rushed to add. We've just been talking lately. He reached out, and I didn't want to be rude, so I held up a hand, cutting her off. You didn't want to be rude? So instead, you lied to me, flirted with him behind my back, and let him text you while we were on a date? She opened her mouth, then shut it again. She had no excuse for that one. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to keep my voice steady. Are you cheating on me? Her eyes widened. What? No. I swear, I would never. I wasn't sure if I believed her. But what she said next? That was what really sent me over the edge. Listen, she said, voice shaky. There's something else I need to tell you. He's not just my ex. He's also. She didn't even get to finish the sentence before I heard footsteps behind me. I turned just in time to see him walking out of the restaurant, a smug look on his face. I didn't know what was about to happen, but I knew one thing for sure, this night wasn't over yet. I turned around, and there he was, Emily's ex, standing there like he had every right to be part of this conversation. Hands in his pockets, that same damn smirk on his face. Dude, he said, shaking his head. You really should relax. I clenched my fists. I don't remember asking for your opinion. Emily stepped between us. Please, both of you, just stop. I ignored her. My eyes were locked on him. What do you want? He chuckled. Chuckled. Like this was some joke to him. Relax, man. I just wanted to introduce myself properly. I'm Ryan. I didn't care. I don't give a f***k who you are, I snapped. But then, he looked at Emily and said something that made my blood run cold. Did you tell him yet? Emily went pale. And that's when I knew there was more to this. I turned to her. Tell me what? She swallowed hard. I was trying to, but... Ryan sighed dramatically. Fine, I'll do it for you. He looked at me with a glint of amusement in his eyes. She didn't just talk to me behind your back. She's been seeing me for weeks. My heart stopped. Emily gasped. That's not true. She whirled on him. Ryan, what the hell? Why would you? But I wasn't listening anymore. My brain was short-circuiting, trying to process what I just heard. Weeks? I looked at Emily. Is he lying? Her hesitation told me everything. The silence between us was suffocating. Emily's mouth opened and closed like she was searching for an answer that didn't exist. My heart was hammering so hard I could barely hear the street noise around us. Emily, I said slowly, my voice dangerously calm. Answer the question. Is he lying? She swallowed hard, her eyes darting between me and Ryan. And then, so quietly I almost didn't hear it, she whispered, I was going to tell you. I felt like the ground had been ripped from beneath me. Ryan laughed. See? Told you. I turned to him so fast he actually took a step back. Shut the f***k up. He smirked but didn't push it further. He didn't have to. The damage was already done. I looked back at Emily, my chest tight. You've been seeing him behind my back? She shook her head quickly. Not like that. I mean, we met up a few times, but... I let out a cold laugh. Met up? A few times? Emily grabbed my arm, eyes pleading. It wasn't like that. I was confused, and he reached out, and I didn't mean for it to. I pulled away. Don't. Just don't. Because in that moment, I knew. She could try to explain it however she wanted, but the truth was simple, she betrayed me. And the worst part? She wasn't even denying it. Ryan, still watching like this was his personal soap opera, sighed dramatically. Well, this has been fun, but I think I'll head out. Good luck, man. He actually patted me on the shoulder before walking off. Emily flinched. Please, can we just go somewhere and talk? I looked at her, really looked at her. And for the first time in 2 years, I didn't see my girlfriend. I saw a stranger. No, I said quietly. We're done. Her face crumbled. Wait. But I didn't. I turned around and walked away, my mind a swirling mess of anger, heartbreak, and betrayal. I didn't know where I was going. I just knew I couldn't be near her anymore. I walked for what felt like hours. My mind was a hurricane: anger, disbelief, sadness, and something else I couldn't quite name. It felt like the world had shifted, like everything I thought I knew about my relationship had been a lie. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I already knew who it was. Emily, please, just talk to me. Emily, I swear it wasn't what it looked like. Emily, come back so we can fix this. Fix this? Fix what? She had been sneaking around with her ex for weeks, lying to my face while pretending everything was fine. I turned off my phone. I couldn't deal with her right now. I ended up at my best friend Jake's place. As soon as he opened the door and saw my face, he knew something was up. Dude, What happened? He asked, stepping aside to let me in. I sat down on his couch, rubbing my face. Emily. She's been seeing her ex behind my back. Jake's eyes widened. Are you King serious? I let out a bitter laugh. Oh, it gets worse. He showed up at the restaurant. Texted her while we were on our date. Then he straight up told me they'd been seeing each other for weeks. Jake sat down, shaking his head. That's so messed up, man. I nodded, staring at the floor. I don't even know what to do. Like, 2 years. And my voice cracked, and I hated it. I hated that she still had this much of a hold on me. Jake sighed. You do know what to do. You walk away. You don't let her gaslight you into thinking this is something you can fix. I nodded, but the pain in my chest didn't let up. It's one thing to say you'll walk away. It's another to actually do it. Because no matter how much she hurt me, a part of me still wanted to believe in the version of her I thought I knew. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emily's face, her guilty expression, the way she hesitated before answering me. The way Ryan had smirked like he had already won. By morning, I had made my decision. I wasn't going to let her manipulate me. I was done. But, of course, she wasn't. At exactly 8 a.m., my phone started blowing up again. Calls, texts, voicemails. I ignored all of them. Then Jake's doorbell rang. He peeked through the blinds and groaned. Dude. It's her. I clenched my jaw. Of course, it is. Jake turned to me. Want me to tell her to K off? I considered it. But a part of me wanted to hear what she had to say, not because I thought she could fix this, but because I needed closure. I sighed. Let her in. Jake frowned but opened the door. Emily stepped inside, her eyes puffy like she had been crying all night. She looked at me with desperation. Please, just talk to me. I crossed my arms. Talk? About what? How you lied. How you met up with your ex behind my back. She winced. I swear, I wasn't cheating. She stopped herself, like she realized how bad her excuse sounded. I scoffed. You were just what, Emily? Accidentally seeing him for weeks? Accidentally texting him while we were on a date? Tears welled in her eyes. I didn't mean for it to happen. I was confused. Jake let out a dry laugh. Wow. Classic. Emily shot him a glare. Can you not? No, I cut in. He can because he's right. You don't accidentally lie for weeks. You made a choice, Emily. And now you have to live with it. She stepped closer, reaching for my hand. I love you. I pulled away. No, you don't. You loved having me while keeping him in the background. You don't get to have both. Her lip trembled. Please, can we just try to fix this? I shook my head. No. We're done. She stared at me for a long moment, like she couldn't believe I was actually walking away. Then her expression changed. The sadness faded, replaced with something else. Anger. And what she said next. I never saw it coming. Her face twisted, like the reality of what was happening was finally sinking in. The tears dried up, and in their place was pure frustration. You think you can just walk away from me, she hissed, her voice trembling with rage. After everything I've done for you? I stared at her, stunned. I didn't know what to say, but I couldn't stay silent. Everything you've done for me? You've been lying to my face for months, Emily. That's what you've been doing. Her eyes flashed with anger. You think I wanted this? You think I wanted to hurt you? I shook my head. I'm done with the excuses. You made your choice. You chose him. She didn't even blink. You think I don't know what I've lost? You think I don't know how stupid this whole thing is? I was trying to keep the peace, keep things from getting messy, but you. I what? I interrupted. I didn't choose this. You made it messy the second you decided to see him behind my back. Emily took a step toward me, fury written all over her face. You don't understand. Ryan's been a part of my life for years. We've been through so much together, and I didn't know how to tell you. Tell me? I shot back. Tell me? You could have told me the truth at any point, but you didn't. You kept lying, kept hiding it. You didn't want to tell me because you were too busy playing both sides. I could see the hurt in her eyes, but there was something else beneath it, a coldness, a sharpness I hadn't noticed before. Fine, she spat. I guess I'll just lose everything. I'll lose you, I'll lose him, and I'll have nothing. It was like something in her snapped. She started pacing, hands running through her hair, muttering to herself. I could barely make out the words, but they sounded like a mix of regret and anger. Are you happy now? She demanded, turning back to me. Are you happy that I've messed up everything? You want me to feel guilty? Because I do, okay? But you don't get to throw that in my face. The whole situation was spiraling. I thought I had already seen the worst of it, but now this? I stood there, staring at her, my mind racing. I couldn't believe what I was witnessing. This was a woman I thought I knew. And now, I was seeing a side of her that was pure venom. I'm done, Emily, I said, my voice steady. You've made your bed. Now you get to lie in it. Her face twisted with something between fury and defeat. You're going to regret this, she snapped. Maybe, I said, walking toward the door. But I'll never regret walking away from this mess. I left without looking back. I spent the next few days in a fog. My mind was a mess of conflicting emotions. I was angry, heartbroken, confused, and if I'm being honest, more than a little lost. I had given so much of myself to Emily, and now, it felt like it had all been a lie. I didn't want to see anyone, didn't want to talk to anyone. But life doesn't stop just because your heart's been shattered. I had to get through the motions, work, errands, the usual. But everything felt hollow. Then came the texts. Emily, I know I messed up. I'm sorry. Please, can we talk? Emily, I need to explain. Emily, don't just walk away from this. I ignored them at first. But every time my phone buzzed, I felt that same pull, like I should listen, like maybe I was being too harsh. But then I remembered what she had done. The betrayal, the lies. One evening, after the fourth or fifth round of texts, I finally decided to check my voicemail. It was her voice, trembling and raw. Please. I just need you to know that I love you, and I'm sorry. I made a huge mistake. I don't want to lose you. I'll do anything to fix this, just, please don't give up on us. Her voice cracked at the end, and I felt a pang in my chest. For a moment, I almost caved. Almost. But I couldn't. I realized something during that voicemail. It wasn't about the love we'd had, it was about the respect I lost when she chose to lie. When she chose to betray me. That wasn't love. That was manipulation. I didn't respond to the voicemail. I didn't respond to the texts. But I did make one decision. I wasn't going to live in this limbo anymore. I was moving on, even if it meant facing the pain of letting go. The hardest part wasn't the anger. It wasn't the hurt. It was the idea that, for a long time, I had thought we were building a future together. And now, I was walking away from it all. But sometimes, walking away is the only way to protect yourself. The first few days after I cut off contact with Emily felt surreal. I was almost in shock, like I was still waiting for everything to go back to normal. But normal didn't exist anymore. What I thought was a secure, loving relationship was a house of cards, and one gust of wind had sent it all crashing down. I tried to keep busy. I threw myself into work, hung out with Jake more, and went to the gym every day. But even with all of that, the weight of the situation didn't lift. Every time I found a quiet moment, I would think about her. I'd hear her voice in my head, her apology, her pleading. I knew I couldn't just ignore the pain. I had to let myself feel it. Because the truth was, the hardest thing wasn't the betrayal, it was the sense of loss. I missed the idea of us. I missed the future I thought we were building. But there was no going back. After a week, I finally decided it was time to clear out the stuff she had left at my place. She had some clothes, a few books, and the things that reminded me of our time together. I couldn't keep holding on to that. As I packed up her things, I found a picture of the two of us at a friend's wedding. We were smiling, happy, arms around each other, looking like everything was perfect. That picture was everything I thought we were. But now, it felt like a different lifetime. I threw the picture frame into a box, along with everything else. I didn't need reminders of the lie. I texted Jake that I was going out for a walk. I needed to clear my head. Walking through the park felt different now. The air was fresh, but it didn't feel as crisp as before. I realized I was still looking for closure, still hoping that somehow, someway, this all would make sense. But it didn't. I sat on a bench for a while, just watching the world go by, and slowly, I realized something important: healing isn't a straight line. It's messy. You'll take 2 steps forward, then 1 step back. And sometimes, you just have to let yourself feel the pain before you can let go of it. I didn't have all the answers. But I knew this: I was starting to heal. It wasn't easy, and it wasn't quick, but I was on my way. And that was enough for now. A few weeks passed, and something in me started to shift. The raw pain I'd felt in the aftermath of everything with Emily didn't hurt as much anymore. It was still there, but it wasn't consuming me the way it had in the beginning. I was learning how to breathe without constantly feeling like I was suffocating under the weight of betrayal. One afternoon, I bumped into an old friend from college, Sarah. We hadn't talked in a while, but she was in town visiting family. She asked me how I was doing, and I wasn't expecting it to hit me the way it did, but I ended up telling her everything about Emily, the lies, the heartbreak, and how lost I had felt. Sarah listened without interrupting, and when I was done, she nodded slowly. "You're a lot stronger than you give yourself credit for," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I know it doesn't feel like it now, but you've already made it through the hardest part." I hadn't really thought about it like that. To me, it just felt like I was surviving, not thriving. But in that moment, I realized she was right. I had made it through the hardest part. As the days went by, I started finding new things I enjoyed. I signed up for a photography class on a whim, something I'd always wanted to try but never had the time for. I joined a book club. I started saying yes to more things, to more opportunities that came my way. It felt like I was rediscovering parts of myself that I'd buried while I was so focused on the relationship with Emily. And then, one day, I found myself sitting at a cafe with Jake, talking about the future, and something in me clicked. I realized I didn't need to have all the answers right now. I didn't need to rush into anything. I was just moving forward, taking each day as it came. And that felt like progress. What I had learned over the last few months was that healing isn't just about getting over someone. It's about finding yourself again, rebuilding your confidence, and learning how to be whole on your own. The pain wasn't gone, not completely. But it wasn't all-consuming anymore. It was just part of the journey. And now, I was ready for whatever came next. It's been a few months since everything went down with Emily. And looking back, I've come to realize just how much I've grown. It's been a long, difficult road, but I'm in a better place now. Not just because the pain has faded, but because I learned how to truly be okay on my own. At first, I thought the hardest part would be walking away from her. But the truth is, the hardest part was learning to walk away from the version of myself that had been dependent on her. I had let my identity become tangled up with someone else, and when that was ripped away, I was left with nothing but a mess of confusion and hurt. But that mess? That was just the beginning of my healing. Here's what I've learned, for anyone out there going through something similar. Give yourself time to grieve. There's no timeline for healing, and you don't get to skip over the pain. It's okay to feel heartbroken, angry, betrayed. You need to feel those things before you can move forward. Don't rush it. Focus on rediscovering yourself. I spent a lot of time thinking I was lost without her. But I wasn't. I just hadn't figured out who I was on my own. Use this time to find the things that make you happy again. Explore new hobbies, try things you've never done before. Surround yourself with the right people. I can't emphasize this enough. Having friends like Jake, who had my back when I was at my lowest, was a lifeline. It's easy to isolate yourself, but you need people who will lift you up, not bring you down. Let go of the what-ifs. It's so tempting to think, what if I'd done this differently? What if we'd tried harder? But the truth is, if someone is willing to lie, cheat, or manipulate, it's not about you. It's about them. You can't fix someone who doesn't want to be fixed. Remember that closure doesn't come from them. I kept waiting for Emily to give me the closure I needed, but in the end, closure comes from within. It's about accepting that things didn't work out, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I failed. It means I learned, I grew, and I'll be stronger for it. It's okay to be alone. I used to think being single meant I was missing something, but now I see it as a chance to truly understand and appreciate who I am. You don't need someone else to feel whole. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe I'll find love again. Maybe I won't. But what I do know is this, I'm okay. I'm stronger than I was before, and I'm not afraid to walk away from things that don't serve me anymore. To anyone out there feeling lost after a breakup, take it one step at a time. You will heal. And in the process, you'll find the person you were always meant to be. That's the end of the story. I've learned a lot along the way, and I hope some of this helps anyone going through something similar. Stay strong, y'all.